How does introjected regulation impact athlete motivation? Have you ever wondered how the pressures athletes feel can influence their motivation? Let's take a closer look at introjected regulation and its effects on athlete motivation. Introjected regulation is a type of extrinsic motivation. It occurs when athletes engage in activities due to internal pressures like guilt or the desire to maintain their self-worth. This means they may not be participating because they truly enjoy the sport, but rather to avoid negative feelings or to gain approval from others. When athletes are motivated by introjection, they often feel a sense of obligation. They might train or compete to avoid feelings of guilt or anxiety about not meeting expectations. This can create a controlled motivational state. While it may push them to perform, it often leads to inconsistent motivation and performance. The behavior is not fully integrated into their sense of self, which can be problematic. Research shows that introjected regulation is linked to less favorable outcomes compared to more autonomous forms of motivation. For instance, athletes who engage in their sport purely for enjoyment or recognize its personal importance tend to perform better. Those driven by introjected regulation often experience lower levels of self-determination. This lack of autonomy can negatively impact their mental well-being and performance. Athletes motivated by fear of failure, a common form of introjected regulation, may struggle to achieve high levels of success. They can also face increased anxiety and depressive symptoms. This internal pressure can lead to psychological stress. Athletes might feel they must train or compete to avoid guilt or meet expectations they have internalized as personal demands. This can reduce their enjoyment of the sport and increase the risk of burnout. Coaches and sports psychologists often work to help athletes transition from introjected regulation to more self-determined forms of motivation. They aim to create a supportive environment that emphasizes personal mastery and intrinsic enjoyment. This approach encourages athletes to find motivation from within rather than from external pressures. In summary, introjected regulation impacts athlete motivation by creating internal pressures that are less adaptive than autonomous motivation. It can undermine performance and well-being, making athletes feel obligated rather than freely motivated. Fostering a more integrated and self-endorsed motivation is essential for promoting sustained motivation and optimal performance in athletes.